What up, y'all? You just tuned in with Sean G, the Great Jedi, here with an exclusive interview. I'm here with my boys from Rock Hopic Records, bringing you the first to hit the internet ever. I'm putting that on record. I'm the first to do this. So before y'all niggas do this shit and then y'all blow up because y'all did this shit, I did it first. Sorry, Sway. Azreal Mal.
What up, what up?
This is an artist I've ran into. As if people don't know me, I am Sean G, the Great Jedi, here to balance both sides of the force so we can party as one. I moved through the city just trying to really networking, connecting people, trying to really build a collective force of artists, MCs, creatives, working as one to just help each other do what we do as creators. And when I ran into this creator, bro, it blew my mind. I want to premise this by letting you know, trigger warning, we are going to be talking about some mental health topics. Please just be mindful of that. We do not mean any harm as we dive into these topics. We are talking about real things that people go through that, you know, we just want to shed some light on. With that being said, when I discovered this artist, I myself was going through a mental health crisis. And sometimes, bro, there is an album that you find. I don't know if it's just me, but you find at just the right time in your life, and it just like changed your life. That's Azreal Mal for me. That's how I discovered it. I'm talking about middle of a crisis. This album hits my algorithm, and dude, it blew my mind. This artist was willing to dive into the nitty gritty of mental health without making a shame of itself or himself, really representing the community in a way that I had to highlight, I had to showcase. So that's why we're here. I'm about to pass the mic to my boy, but I had to just hype him up a little bit before I bring him to the stage. First off, if you don't know, now you know. Azreal Mal.
What up, everybody? I am Azreal Mal. I'm from a little bit west of Atlanta. Been doing this for longer than I care to admit. I'm an engineer. I write every lyric that you hear on my projects. They're all written by me. There's no ghostwriters involved. I do ghostwrite for other people, so, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, my latest album, Seducer, Accuser, Destroyer, is the album he's referencing, and it's available everywhere right now. So make sure you go out and get that. You can find me easily on the algorithms. My SEO is getting good, so if you just search for Seducer, Accuser, Destroyer album, it's going to pop up and dominate the whole first page of Google.
With that being said, I would love to know, off rip, what is the origin story behind that album, the album art, and the name itself? Like, give it to us. Like, I saw it, I see it, and I know what it kind of, how I interpret it as, but I think you as the artist deserve to be able to tell us what was the message you were trying to put in there?
Yeah, so the origin of the actual album title was, I kind of stole it. There was a Bray Wyatt pro wrestler t-shirt years ago that had the phrase Seducer, Accuser, Destroyer on one side and a lamb with the words Find Me on the other side. And that always just stuck with me, like the imagery of it and that pairing of words. And then when I looked into it and Googled it and researched it, I'm like, oh, this has got to do with mythology and religion and archangels of death and things like that. I was like, that's perfect. Because that's what I'm trying to be as the real me, is the archangel of death to the current way that things are in this industry. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be attending any Diddy parties, and it's not because he's in prison.
Really?
It's because I've already had those ridiculous sell your soul opportunities, and I said no to them because they're not literal, they're metaphorical. It feels like selling your soul if you go through with it. Like, that's why I said no. But the title, I wanted a 3-word title that just represented what I was trying to do and be with this incarnation of myself. And that combined with the mythology aspect and the religious aspect, and then the track the fact I have a track called Pale Horse, you know, death itself, or rather the carrier of death, like it just made sense.
Speaking of Check out Pale Horse on all platforms by Azreal Mal. If you haven't, if you're one of those people that just happen to stumble upon this video and you're like, you don't even know who this person is, that's where you want to start. Go Google that song, and if you survive that song, come back and finish the video so you can dive into what you just heard. But I do want to ask, before we get off this topic, we got your origin. I feel like with every superhero or villain, there's always some greater superhero or villain that influences you, right? So in hip hop, I imagine those are like, role models or icons. Yeah. Who are 3 that you would say have influenced who you are?
I mean, Tupac, first and foremost. That was the whole reason I wanted to be a rapper, was his music. Then Eminem showed me it was okay to make hip-hop. He opened the door for it to be a possibility. And then I related to DMX on an emotional level, which might be the most unhealthy shit you'll hear somebody say. Is that, like, I emotionally relate to DMX.
Hey, bro, don't come for all of us, bro. There's a lot of us that are emotionally connected to some DMX. I be at professional jobs watching professional people on their iPods playing that song just so that they don't spaz out at their job. I'm talking about the person doing my taxes right now. They got that song on their iPod just so they don't spaz out. You feel me? Like, thank God for DMX. You feel me?
Yeah, rest in peace, X.
For real. I like that. That's actually, I can see that, especially with the just power behind every song, and just really the topic matter. You are bold. You go there, and I think that's what makes me a fan. Speaking of influences outside of hip hop, I'm assuming there has to be something more. What other influences are there? If you had to pick from any media, movies, gaming, comics, whatever, what would you say?
I mean, I'm a sci-fi fan, and I'm big on post-apocalyptic type sci-fi. So the Fallout games and TV series, that was a big one for me. I was playing a lot of that while I was making the album. I do a lot of gaming, WWE games. I play those a lot. That's kind of like my stress relief, except online. I don't play that shit online because you get spammed to death by the same moves over and over. And, yeah, for that type of frustration does not inspire creativity in me. That shit just pisses me off and everything. But shit, I think I was watching like Cruel Intentions and The Matrix and just throwback shit to when I was, real young, like while I was making the album. Tupac's Gridlocked, which is one of my favorite movies ever. I watched that once or twice while I was making the album, because I was thinking about doing voiceover work, and I was looking for a monologue, and I was trying to find the one that Tupac has in Gridlocked about doing heroin. I was like, yeah, that'd be a fucking impactful monologue to, present to somebody. So the first thing you present is a heroin addict speech,
That's deep.
But I figured, fuck it, it'd be impactful. So,
yeah, that's deep. That's super deep. With that being said, I will say I kind of was getting cyberpunk vibes from some of your stuff. I'm not gonna cap.
Oh yeah, I definitely, I was playing it around the time I was making the album. Like, I don't know if I was right at the end of the game or if I had just beat it, but when I was doing the main bulk of recording, yeah, I was definitely playing a little cyberpunk.
Yeah, your album definitely is added to my gaming playlist. I will be slicing up cyber criminals to some of that Pale Horse in the next track, actually, that we're going to take a dive into. So this is going to be our first deep dive, where we just dive into one of the tracks from the album that I think stood out the most. And I just want to really just get into the nitty gritty of something that's already just really, really good. So first deep dive, tell us about My Country.
Man, My Country was a song like 20 years in the making. I wrote the hook to that when I was like a young teenager. Like, we're talking like W. Bush, because I was socially aware and conscious, and I guess what they would call woke now, even though it's a fucking pejorative term for people with lower than fucking 100 IQ. Like, woke is a good thing, but I was socially aware of the injustices and shit that went on in society even at that time. And I was like, yo, why do we not do anything about this? How can we be such a great country? You know, how are we the land of the free and the home of the brave if the rich stay rich and the poor never get paid? And I'm like, that greatness was built off of displacement and enslavement. Like, and that's what's supposed to be great. Like, we're not going to address the fucking elephant in the room here. That supposed greatness came from horrible, evil fucking deeds done by people who you probably wouldn't even think of as horrible or evil. But I mean, you know, time is the ultimate judge of everything. And obviously they were. But then I started working on this album, and I'm looking for tracks to fill it up. And I didn't want to make too many political tracks because I knew I already had class warfare on there, and I was like, that's more of a battle cry, protest anthem. You know, that's what I made that for. But my country was more like, really? Y'all still haven't addressed any of this shit? You still haven't fixed any of this shit? And it's gotten worse, and now we got new problems? Like, there's fucking real Nazis walking around again? Like, I thought those went extinct in the fucking 40s. Like, I didn't know we had these issues still. Like, and, you know, all of that combined, it's like, I didn't want to make a depressing song about it. I wanted to make something that was relatable. Because, you know, in today's society, it's hard to be empathetic. It's hard to be the bigger person because society pushes you to just think it's a zero-sum game and that you have to step on everyone in your way to get whatever you need or want in life. Or the reason you don't have shit is because someone else has something. Their something has nothing to do with your lack of shit, but somebody's convinced you it has, so now instead of focusing on the problem, you're worried about the other people and what they got or what they don't have. It's fucking absurd.
This brings me to my next question, which honestly my country kind of sums up, but I want to hear it just simplified for people, and I want it this done in a way that's not necessarily offensive. Trigger warning, we are about to just get into, you know, politics for a quick second, y'all, but I just want to keep the comments positive. If you're going to jump into this discussion, know that we're having this discussion to have this discussion, to highlight and critique things that we think need to be talked about and possibly improved in our community. We're not just talking to complain and be mad at each other, okay? So please do not come into our comments talking about, oh, he's a this or he's a that, them or that. We don't care. This is music, this is art, this is the voice of the people, you know, amendment rights stuff. All right. What is the main key political points or hot points that you would say your music does tackle? You know what I'm saying? If you were looking at it like a general and, you know, music could really help spread awareness in certain areas, what are the areas that you really want to bring awareness to politically?
I mean, widespread poverty is definitely something I address repeatedly in my music. Institutionalized racism is brought up. The fact that on average 1,600 unarmed Americans, predominantly which are either black, brown, or mentally ill and unarmed, will be killed by the police every fucking year in this country. Like, if you had to label me anything, I would be a socio-anarchist. And by that I mean that I believe in socialism to the extent of this. Everybody gets the bologna with the fucking red plastic around it. And white loaf bread. That everybody gets that because you need it to survive. If you want something more than that, you work for it. If you want more than the absolute just bare minimum necessity to survive, then you work harder. But I believe that every job should pay a fully livable wage no matter what it is. So wherever that puts me on the political spectrum, and that, you know, pregnant women shouldn't be working in the third trimester probably. Like, they should probably be resting and focusing on the pregnancy. And when they do have a baby, they shouldn't be rushed back to work, and the father should be allowed to take some actual time off to bond with their child too. So, I mean, I guess that puts me to the left side of the left-right paradigm, but, you know, I believe people life should come first and work should come second, always. That you should, you know what I'm saying, work to live, not live to work. I mean, you can have a passionate career and invest yourself deeply into it if you want to, But you shouldn't be having to pull 60-hour shifts at a factory or a warehouse or something like that just to make ends meet for the next week, just to do it all over again. Being one injury, one illness, one car accident away from fucking homelessness is not okay. And that's how the majority of Americans live. And that's literally being a wage slave.
Right.
Because traditional slavery, housing, food, all that was provided to you. You were property, and all that was provided for you. In wage slavery, you have the illusion of free will. You can change jobs. They both pay the same. What fucking difference is it going to make? So all you can do is change plantations. You can go share crops somewhere else. You can change your master by changing who signs your paycheck. But to come up, they've made it virtually impossible. Mm-hmm. The old attitude of do some shit, be good at it, show up on time, show up, show out, that doesn't work anymore. Mm-hmm. It's become a world of nothing but nepotism, favoritism, and just bullshit. Mm-hmm. Where there's a glass ceiling placed on the majority of us. Mm-hmm. As far as financially, socioeconomically, there's things you can't do.
I ain't gonna even poke the bear here because I feel like this topic itself is a rabbit hole that we could take a whole side quest and a whole side series on. But I think you covered a lot of things that are important to us at Rotten Media, and me as the Gray Jedi. I have an eye for people that really know how to, walk that line. Doesn't really fall into the side. I'm this side or that side bullshit. I think you really you get it. I think you just listening to you, you know what I'm saying? I think that's where we as Americans need to be in general, is that we need to just take a step back, stop, getting in this back and forth just mess, and just step back and take a good look at everything and figure out what really just makes sense. And what you said makes sense to me. There is a topic though that's very important to me because I am diagnosed bipolar. That's what really stood out to me in your music. It was very much came to me while I was having a crisis, and the music just spoke to me in a way that just made me take my energy, focus, do what I need to do. So I want to know, what is your take on mental health in general?
I mean, I think the mental health of the average American is worse than they would admit. I think that more than 1 in 4 in America suffers from a mental illness. 1 in 4 are diagnosed or treated. But you got to look at the millions of people, the large percentage of society that does not have access to treatment or diagnosis. And I mean, there's a reason why we have more drug users than any other country on earth. We consume the most illegal, illicit drugs of any nation on earth. We don't have the largest population. We don't naturally produce cocaine here or anything like that. It's because there's so many people going untreated for mental illnesses. Like, I've met a bunch of meth heads in my life that within the first 10 minutes of talking to them, I was like, this is just somebody with ADHD that fucked up and self-medicated with the wrong shit. And now they're strung out. Which, I mean, I don't know how much of a difference there is between that and shit. I take Adderall myself. I'm prescribed Adderall twice a day. And without it, I feel like shit and I don't function well. And I mean, to me, there's a very thin line in America of how we view, chemical dependency is okay, but drug addiction is a fucking character flaw. That's the mental illness crisis of America to me, is that we treat doctor-induced chemical dependency as a socially acceptable thing, but self-induced chemical dependency as a fucking character flaw and is something to be a scourge and that needs to be punished. Nah, people need help. Have you ever met a mentally healthy crackhead? I haven't. I've never met a mentally healthy meth head. Some of them were functional, but there was an underlying issue. There's something pushing Americans to do more drugs than everyone else. We used to drink more than a lot of countries, but we've slowed down on drinking and our drug use has gone way up. I mean, you can't go to any major city in America without seeing fentanyl addicts just flopped out, passed out on the fucking streets. It wasn't like that when I was a child. It wasn't like that when I was a teenager. It wasn't even like that when I was in my 20s. And it's all a mental health crisis to me. If you've got nowhere to turn and you feel like you're at the bottom, And then what do you have to lose by doing drugs? You got $20 to your name. That's not going to pay your rent. That's not going to fucking pay the car note. That's not going to solve your problems. That's not going to do your child support. I can see why people do it. It's a trap that they fall into easily. And then they wind up with the epidemic we have now.
Mm-hmm.
The opioid epidemic was corporately induced
Amen.
due to the overprescribing of Oxycontin and Percocet and shit like that in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden one day you cut people off from that shit. You send them into withdrawals basically with, sorry, fuck you, hope you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
With no guiding hand to help them. They turn to some kind of relief, and bam, now you've got a heroin addict who never would have touched heroin on their own had you not gotten them addicted to some legal shit that gets you higher than what you can get off the street from a drug dealer. I used to tell people that when I was young because I've always dealt with my mental illness by going to psychiatrists more than therapy because I don't want to talk it out. Give me a pill for my symptoms and let me go about my business. I'll work on me. I don't want to pay somebody to sit and talk by the hour. So, I've always viewed it as, the stigma as weird. The fact that it's socially acceptable that I can say, hey, I take Adderall twice a day, and nobody bats an eyelash. But if I was like, yo, I hit 2 bumps of meth every day, somebody would be like, yo, you need rehab.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm encouraging or condoning meth use. I'm not. That shit's terrible for you. You shouldn't do it. If you feel like doing meth, chances are you might have ADHD. Go see a doctor. But that's the issue overall is that people won't face their own issues. So they bury them and hide them under substances, under habits, under religion. People find some kind of blanket, and it's either going to be a security blanket or it's just going to be a way to block out the world. Mm-hmm. Because they can't deal with what's inside themselves. Mm-hmm. And if you look around you too long, you're going to fuck around and spot a mirror and have to take a look inside.
Mm. That was amazing. I ain't gonna lie. Once again, this is a topic that, viewers, we could dive into a whole series on this. I personally recommend, do your research. Google some of the stuff my man talking about. Because, all I'm going to say, just add my little Jedi 2 cents, I did do some research recently. They were saying that we're about to hit $1 trillion deficit on the mental health industry in general. That's how much money they're spending on it. And lo and behold, and we already knew this, there's even movies out about this people probably just kind of sleep on. But the painkiller crisis is what really started this, is when they started making painkillers, they was putting certain types of opioids in that. And that's what started to get America addicted to it. And it was a really crazy movie. You should watch it. I think there's even a series about it called Pain or something like that, or Pain.
Yeah, I think I know the one you're talking about.
And it just kind of
the families that own the pharmacies.
And it just kind of showed, and it breaks it down a little bit. And people kind of sleep on this stuff like it's just film. It's like, bro, this is the only way you go and digest the reality of how deep reality can go on you. You know what I'm saying? They have proof. It's so much proof now. If y'all just do the proof, a lot of this medicine y'all has opioids in it, some type of now they're saying fentanyl is the crisis, but now lo and behold they be using low doses of fentanyl in some of their medicine. It's crazy. It's like where did it come from? And the answer is kind of right in our faces. But we're not going to dive into that too deep. We want to keep it about your music, but since we're talking about mental health, another deep dive. So ironically, my next song that I want to talk about is BPD. Tell us about that song and how it kind of plays into the last question, ironically.
I mean, that song is basically a personal diary. And I actually was released from a therapist I had recently, which threw me the fuck off, which kind of tells you the level of how professionals deal with BPD. Number one, it's not common for men to have it, so they're not used to treating us for it to begin with. Number two, people want to always just, assume it's bipolar or whatever, but I'm like, it's a totally separate condition. And I'd never heard anybody in song or, definitely not in song, try to explain what it's like having it. And that hook came to me. It was like, they love me, they hate me, they love me again. Like, that's what goes through my head in a 15-minute span if, somebody texts me different than normal or some shit. Just the smallest little things set off that part of my brain. And it's all from, early childhood trauma, abandonment, shit like that I'm not going to delve into in this interview. But, like, it all stems from shit like that. Even though it's called a personality disorder. It's like, nah, I didn't choose to be like this. Like, this was embedded and ingrained in me and made me form a certain way. So I wanted to try to let people know, like, what the experience is like of having BPD, so that maybe, people with BPD won't feel so alone. They'll feel some kind of representation. Because there is no face of BPD. It's not like a big publicly aware thing. It's not like the autism or neurodivergent movement, where people are learning more about it and they're more understanding and they're more, compassionate. And I wanted a way that hopefully to make people a little more compassionate about the subject if they understood what it felt like coming from someone with the condition. So it's almost like a personal diary. I mean, when I start the second verse, I've felt that way more times than I can count. It says, I think my best friends hate me and consider me a burden. I worry all the time if I'm even a decent person. And I'm like, that's the type of shit that racks my brain. It's existential shit and shit like that. Normal people don't have to sit around. They don't kill time during their day doing that. Like, that's something that BPD brings about. They love me, they hate me, they love me again. They love me, they hate me, they never were my friend. You can think that people are abandoning you over the slightest of issues. But you can't react on that. You can't say anything. Because if it's a friend, you're going to come across as clingy or weird. And if it's a romantic relationship, you're definitely going to come across as clingy or desperate or fucking smothering or, unhealthy. It's going to be a red flag. But you can't stop the thought from happening. You can't stop the feeling from coming. So I thought maybe if people understood a little more of what the experience is like, they could be a little more compassionate and understand the people in their lives that might have it. And also for people to hear it, and if they relate to it and they don't know, why they feel the way they feel, maybe encourage them to seek out a diagnosis or treatment. Even though there is no medication for BPD, but you can treat the symptoms of it, or a lot of the symptoms. So it was a way to relate, to basically just pour my soul out to the public. Like, this is who I am at my most vulnerable, at my weakest, when I'm not answering the phone and that I'm free. It's BPD. When you text me back like an hour later than you would normally take to hit me back, and I know that you weren't busy, I'm gonna act a certain way. I can't help it. I work on it. I try not to let it affect me, but it's a part of who I am. So it's like, hopefully people can understand better and just be a little more patient. Because if I've got to work on me, then all I ask of society is to acknowledge the work I'm doing. That's it. If I've got to work on my inner everything mental and my strength and my ability to deal with all these thoughts and feelings that I can't control, they're all intrusive. So it's basically shit being forced into my brain that I don't want there constantly. And that's hard to deal with. It'd be like if every time you're trying to write something, someone just walked up and spoke directly in your ear and just wouldn't stop talking until you put the pen down. That's kind of like what it's like having BPD and trying to build new relationships with people, because that fear of abandonment is always there. That, that switch can go from, oh, they love me to they hate me for the smallest thing. And it fucking sucks. But it's a part of something I have to live with. So I thought maybe it could bring some understanding, shed some light on the issue, and, God forbid, I don't want it to be too relatable to too many people, because that means that we have, an epidemic of more people suffering with the condition. But, like I said, if you relate to it on a deep level and you don't have a diagnosis, you might want to go see somebody and talk with a professional, because you could have BPD. And it's not a death sentence. We do have shorter lifespans, ironically, because of the condition, but it's better to have a shorter lifespan than to have no lifespan. So
And honestly, I feel like that's the whole point of the song is to bring light to it in general, because a lot of us, especially black, white, whatever you are, men in general, just might not know, might go their whole lives not knowing they have bipolar traits and been having anger issues their whole life, and just don't know because they can't speak up and don't know, how to speak up or get the help. So I think I just want to say, as somebody that struggles with BPD, thank you for the song. Thank you for putting yourself out there. Thank you for the message. And you've inspired me to, do better and work on me too, and to speak up for our community as well. So thank you. With that being said, I am going to go ahead and switch the vibes a little bit with some nerd questions. Right. Brought to you by Rotten Media. You already know what's up. I had to, I had to come with some nerd shit, man. We all, I already knew we was going to get deep as fuck, but, they be forgetting, nerds. We was already deep. That's like one stat on the stat board, but we got other shit.
I'm ready for the nerd round.
We got other shit we give a fuck about. So check this out. This is what we gonna do, right? I got this main question I'm gonna jump into, but I got a little kind of like a little quick little game we gonna jump into afterwards. First question to just start us off: if you can compare yourself to any superhero metaphorically, who would it be?
It would be more of a super villain or an anti-hero.
That's cool. And you know what I mean? It's basically like, super character, anybody.
It'd be Nemesis from Icon Comics.
Break it down to me. Like I don't know. I don't want to act like I know. I want to hear it from you.
Nemesis is basically a villain that's a combination of Batman and the Joker. He's rich as hell. His family are kind of dirty and corrupt. His father ends up committing suicide, but rather than go to prison or whatever, his mother goes to prison. And instead of traveling the world learning from martial artists like Batman did, he travels the world learning from criminals and villains. Learns to be the best villain possible so that he can target police and government officials. But I love that comic because I'm a Mark Miller fan. Like, Miller makes some amazing work. God, I hope it's Mark Miller. It's not Frank Miller, is it? Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns.
Correct.
It's one of the Millers. It may be Frank. Sure.
I wouldn't be surprised. I will say I have heard about him. I did not get to read the comic, but I watched a quick lore snippet about him that popped up on me, and the breakdown was amazing because it was like explaining how if you take a Batman and actually push him back beyond that edge, he actually got a lot of shit done. He got everything done. He basically like took over the city or some shit. He was
pretty much accomplishes all of his supervillain goals, and his contingency plan is that his mask is wired with a bomb that will take out like a whole city block if you try to unmask him. So you can't beat him. You know what I'm saying? Even if you killed the man.
Yeah.
The moment you go to take his mask off, hundreds are dead, if not thousands.
Yeah, he's definitely on my to-read list. He sounds like what we need right now.
And I always thought that if you took that concept and applied it to corrupt cops and corrupt people of power, that would be a hell of a movie. That would be my dream movie role. Just take the story and flip it a little bit so that the public knows I'm not anti every fucking politician. I'm not anti every cop. I'm anti every corrupt person with any type of power over other people. I'm anti-corruption, period. I'm anti-selfishness. I would say I'm anti-capitalist, but also I've plugged like my products 4 or 5 times already in this interview. I'm anti-late stage capitalism, where we're at right now with the job market and shit. I'm anti all those things. So I relate more to villains and anti-heroes because I'm like, in this system, it makes more sense to be a villain than a hero because there are people that have more than what they could ever need, that they have too much. And if you took from them, who would feel sympathy or empathy? If Jeff Bezos somehow got robbed of $50 million, is it going to affect his life? No. And who would care? I mean, maybe his other billionaire friends might care. But no normal people would care. Society wouldn't give a fuck. They'd probably celebrate it. Like, yo, he deserved it. And that's why I kind of related to Nemesis, because the system in society has seemingly gotten so shitty and so corrupt, or corruption has infested so many crevices of every aspect of our society, that it makes sense to want to see the corrupt punished in whatever way possible. We can be civilized and modern about it and put you in a shitty cage, even though America has the worst prison system out of any supposedly civilized country or any, first world developed nation. Our prisons are overpacked because they're for profit. So that's a whole nother fucking can of worms. That's part of the systematic issue of everything being wrong from the top to the bottom. Because with for-profit prisons, if you get arrested, what's the incentive for you to have a fair trial if the state makes money for every prison bed or every jail bed that they fill? Where is the incentive from the system to be blind when it comes to justice? You take that away. Now they've got incentive for you to be in jail. And now you can selectively target people, marginalized people already. Now you can selectively target them and put them in jail because they can't afford the bonds and the bails or the probations, which are just another way for them to milk money out of people. I mean, it's a rigged game, and we can see it's a rigged game, but nobody does anything about it. And just the idea of somebody who does actually fix things, even if it's not in the right way, that's appealing to me. So I see myself as more of an anti-hero than, the Punisher's dope too. I love the Punisher.
No, we respect all anti-villains around here. The Great Jedi whole trend is that we pretty much don't see sides. So to me, it is going to take everybody. I believe it's going to take everybody. But, speaking of villains in particular, I want to say V for Vendetta does a great job of summing up the perfect archetype of the type of anti-hero you're talking
That's
about.
one of my all-time favorite movies.
I would say that movie is really also just great at even breaking down the systematic bullshit that we're talking about right now, in a just eloquent way. That movie is amazing. I'm probably gonna rewatch it now that I've talked to you.
I think I still got my Guy Fawkes mask from back in the day somewhere tucked away in the house.
Yeah, I think it's about that time. Okay, so here goes pop quiz. So I'm about to hit you with this is a machine gun nerd showdown questionnaire. I'm about to hit you with a bunch of nerd questions back to back. Unlike the rest of the questions and the previous questions, we're not going to dive too deep in them. I just want a quick answer off the top, as quick as you can, and I'm going to tell you either fire, mid, or pass. And at the end of it, we can go and go back to your score, and you can defend whichever one you want to defend. All right, pop quiz. Let's get it. You ready, out?
Ready.
What's your superpower?
Lyricism.
Fire. What's your favorite childhood cartoon?
Garfield and Friends.
Fire. What comic universe do you want to live in?
Ninja Turtle universe.
Fire. What is your ideal love life? Can use media references, like from comic books.
Batman and Catwoman.
Fire! What do you think is the real cure for the collective mental health crisis?
Compassion.
Fire! Bro, hit all fires, y'all. I really was thinking he was gonna come with at least one mid answer, bro.
I almost said Ninja Turtles for our favorite childhood cartoon too, because I got all the VHSs and I had the band with the Slimer joint on the back.
Yeah, that was a fire. Bro, that whole list, your whole list was fire. I ain't gonna lie, that was a fire. It makes sense, bro. Nerd inspection passed. You're a S tier. You get your nerd license. You can continue to nerd around the premises freely, sir. Please continue to nerd about. Enjoy all the nerd amenities.
That's my serious superpower. I'm a nerd.
I can see that, sir. I can see that.
Bars out of me.
I can see that. Well, I'm not gonna keep you too long. Let's jump into the next ones. Speaking of one of the questions you said your superpower is lyricism. So I agree. So I want to talk about one of the super songs that is on that album that really stands out to me. I feel like if your superpower is lyricism, this shit here might be your fucking Conmail Wave Final Flash at the villain, the real villain. This is the villain's weakness we about to talk about. We're doing another deep dive, and this one is Wage Slave.
A Wage Slave was... I wrote that hook while I was working at a fucking Walmart. I was desperate for work. I hated the job I was in. I needed something immediate. They were hiring. Said, cool, let's unloading trucks. I've worked in warehouses my whole adult life. I've done just music related jobs like recording studios and then warehouses and factories. The different temp agencies. I probably worked for all the major temp agencies. Did all that bullshit. I didn't want to temp anymore. I didn't want to be in a factory anymore. So I was like, all right, let me work a little retail warehouse. And I got stuck there for 3 fucking years because they kept giving me promises of advancement and more money and, opportunity and shit. And I'm on the spectrum. So if you look me in the eye and tell me by such and such date you're going to do such and such thing, I'm going to believe you. Because you just looked me in the eye and gave me your word something was going to happen. And then it never did. And then I'm the fool. Because I should have known they were playing me. But once I realized they were playing me, then I started looking for a way out. And it took so long for me to get out of that place and to get a new career opportunity for as far as 9-to-5 jobs. Because don't be an idiot. All the rappers on the come up either hustle or have a 9-to-5. We have to. We still fucking have bills to pay. I'm saying Outkast said if you don't move your feet, then then we don't eat. But that's only true to an extent because streaming has taken the bulk of our money away. So if you don't buy merch or if you don't go on iTunes and purchase the album or buy the vinyl, then we don't eat. I mean, we appreciate the streams and all, but streaming is wage slavery. It's another form of it. But the job I had was that hook just was stuck in my head constantly at work because I was overworked and underpaid. And I felt like a wage slave. And I remember I told one of the bosses one day, they asked me to do something ridiculous. And I was like, yo, I'm not your goddamn sharecropper. And I was like, oh, that's fire. Because as soon as I got done being pissed off, then I was creatively inspired. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm not sure I could put that with that wage slave thing I've been saying. I was like, now I got a bridge. Most rappers don't use bridges. I use bridges and refrains in some of my songs because I try to be different. I don't want to sound like everything else you've already heard. I want to be something new that you integrate into like, oh no, that's some Azreal shit. Where it's undeniable, you turn the track on and you already know it's me from the way the beat is, or as soon as I open my mouth, you know what it's about to be about. But Wage Slave was just the culmination of a lifetime of underpaying, overworked, dead-end jobs. That was like, I know other people got to feel this way. And I wanted to make it accessible to everybody because realistically looking at me, I look white. I'm Native American and Caucasian. That's my ethnicity. I'm close to a 50-50, 60-40 type balance, but I'm still not like white. And so my family came from sharecroppers. Like I can trace my lineage back. So I know for a fact where I come from. But I was like, okay, that only applies to certain people. And then I got Galore Galactic on the track because he could say he's not a slave. Because it makes sense and it works. It just works for the track. And so I'm like, we're nobody's sharecroppers, we're nobody's slaves, The only shit you're gonna get from me for free is a freestyle. And those are rarely ever free anymore anyways. I might hop in a cypher on occasion, but I typically don't even freestyle for free. So it was just, I wanted to create a pissed off working man's anthem. Something that you could play at what is the word I'm thinking of? Not protest, strikes and walkouts. They could be used for that.
I can totally see that. And I personally
somebody with a megaphone chanting, having the crowd chant back, I'm not your goddamn sharecropper.
At this point, I would actually go ahead and say nominate that song for the. I'm putting that on top 5 list of anthems for the revolution right now. Like I'm just talking about like right now, talking about everything we even talking about. That song just does it. If you haven't heard that song, please go do that right now. Stop what you're doing
Wage slave will make you consider quitting your job.
right now.
If you're unhappy with your work situation, you might start typing a letter of resignation.
Right now.
By the time you get to the second verse.
Right now, bro. You know, a week later, you end up running your own business type shit, and you're like, damn, it was just that one song changed everything. All right, next song I want to talk about as we get to the end of this, to flip the script. All the songs we talked about so far are very heavy, but I do want to get into one that I feel like is a little bit more of a vibe, you know, because sometimes I feel like in the hip hop community, they act like, you can't be conscious and have a bop. So I wanted to talk about Conditioner. And I would say, my question more so is, would you consider that your bop? And what inspired that song? And what exactly, when you come into tracks like that, what inspires you to make a hit record, a single, or a club track?
I came into it with the intention of I need something upbeat. I need something for either the club or the strip club. I don't care. Both of them are, good places to have your music played. If you're in heavy rotation at the strip clubs or the regular clubs, you're good. Because that means your career is probably going in a positive direction. You got momentum. People recognize you, And I knew I needed something fun. And on my first album, I had a song called Shampoo, where I was talking about just the cliches of rap. The hook was just a list of cliches. It was like get a bag, fuck a bitch, smoke a blunt, lather, rinse, repeat, repeat, repeat. Like a fucking bottle of shampoo. And so it was track 3 on the Second Coming, my first EP. So I knew I wanted to make a sequel to it. And for years I had thought about making almost like 2 Live Crew. Shout out to 2 Live Crew. Like dirty nursery rhymes type things. Like what's in the public domain that I can get away with flipping into something? And I was like, I'm just, what about head, shoulders, knees, and toes? Because everybody talks about getting head, but ain't nobody ever talked about getting shoulders, knees, and toes before.
We taking it there.
You're getting everything, the full fucking package.
Everything.
And like those are the hardest tracks for me to write, honestly, because I don't go to strip clubs as often as I should. I really should support the working women out there more often. I gotta work on that. It's a flaw of mine. I don't go to strip clubs as often as I should. And regular clubs, that's not my scene really. So I made it more as a strip club party type, just have fun song. I'm not going to shout out individual clubs that we went to because, it was an okay experience. We might go back there to film a video, but we might not. So I don't want to. Shout out to every stripper I've ever met. If they recognize me, get at me on my Instagrams. If you still stripping though, I would worry because I've only been to one strip club I think in the past 10 years. So hopefully all the strippers, the new me, have moved on to better days. But
we're back on track.
But I needed something fun, and I just thought that doing that as a call and response, as a chant, would be catchy. I didn't know if it would be a single. I just knew that it made me laugh, and it was stuck in my head. And I know there's 2 things that if something gets stuck in your head, they call it an earworm in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it was an earworm for sure, and I knew that it was at least mildly entertaining because I'm not easily amused. I'm either overly emotional with anger or anxiety, the negative emotions. I'm never like happy, positive, manic. I don't get that good shit. Or I'm stoic, where it's like people have called me condescending because I tend to speak with a flat affect at times, especially in my day-to-day life. Like as an artist, I'm more comfortable being me. But when I'm not being Azreal, I'm more stoic, and people accuse me of talking down to them just because of my tone of voice and shit, and it's just a whole pain in the ass. Like I prefer being the me that makes music, because it's all still me, but this is me with no filter. This is me not worried if a future employer sees this video, what will their I don't give a fuck what their fucking reaction might be to this video. Future employer or current employer, if you see this video and don't like it, there are parts of my dick that might not have been sucked before. You could be the first. Who knows? I don't care. And that's kind of the point where of the song where I was like, you know what, this is fun to me, and I bet if I could get it in rotation in the strip clubs, I bet everybody else will enjoy it too. So I just wanted to have something that was fun because I knew that I was hitting people with so many emotional tracks and struggle tracks and angry tracks. I was like, I just don't want an album of nothing but negative emotions. Like, there has to be some fun somewhere in here. And I've got 2 other party upbeat tracks. And I was like, I don't have anything for the ladies. So even though it wasn't a love song or a ballad, or, you know, it was something for the ladies that was meant to be fun, you know, tongue in cheek, it's a joke. And it plus it's catchy as fuck. So
Hey, you got the shit done for me. It bopped my head, and as soon as that shit came on, I was in the shower while it hit me. I was like, damn, nigga, this nigga must be watching me, bro. He got the song about my job life, the song about my mental health life. I was like, all right, man, let me get in the shower real quick while I'm listening to the album. No, sorry for too much information, y'all. And literally, this song hits me. I'm just saying, like, the dude was on his shit. For a song review moment, I was just like, he's hitting every moment, like, as it's happening. So if you haven't checked it out yet, please go ahead and Google Azreal Mal on all platforms. Go ahead and dive into the whole experience, dive into the whole project. My final question to really wrap it up would be, what is your takeaway as we come in hot off of J. Cole's The Fall Off, where he does talk about when an artist, what it means for artists to really fall off or bring their career to an end. And to me, the message I got from it is that every artist, even when it's time for their career to end, there's a certain message that they want to leave behind that's going to stay forever. What is your message? What is the takeaway eternally that you hope people take away from your music once they hear a track?
I mean, I hope the general message is to be as real as you can be. Because that's the path forward for humanity.
Amen.
Cut the bullshit, cut all the facades, be as real as you can be. That's why my catchphrase is that's as real as it gets. Because that's what I want people to be. That's what I want people to feel from my music. Like, you don't even have to like my music, but you'll probably respect it even if you don't like it, because you'll be like, damn, that's real. Like, that's some real shit he was saying. Because I've been through all the struggles that I talk about. I mean, I'm probably the only, pale-skinned rapper that can sit here and be like, I've trapped for years of my life before. You can look for papers, you're not going to find any, because I was good at my fucking job and didn't get caught and didn't go to jail. But that doesn't negate the experience of doing what I, had to do to pay the fucking bills. I was still there. I've been in the trenches. I've been here this whole time. It's just I wasn't ready to be noticed, I guess, mentally, psychologically, until I matured to this point. I guess I wasn't ready to present myself to the world in a real, authentic way because I didn't like what I saw. But I fucking love me. Me is awesome. Like, my album is my favorite album of the year right now. I like the J. Cole album. I haven't checked it out from start to finish. I like Jed's album that he dropped last year. I haven't checked it out from start to finish. But my album, to me, is the best indie hip-hop of the album of the year, no matter what the fuck I hear from this point on. And I have to believe that because that's the only path to success. If I don't believe I'm great, why the fuck would you? Why would any of you believe I'm great if I don't believe that I'm great? So it's not ego, it's confidence. It's self-assurance. It's being real. And I mean, honestly, that's as real as I can be. And that's what I want from people. At the end of the day, whether you love my music, whether you hate it, or whether you become a full stan and you get all my merch and you want unreleased tracks and stuff, which I'm thinking about starting a Patreon for shit like that so people can get more behind the scenes and everything. Because I want to grow the brand in a way that makes me accessible to people. Because I want to continue to be as real as I can be. And the best way to do that is to, no matter how many fans I have, whether it's 10,000 or 10 million, is to be accessible to them. So that's what I want. I want direct connection with the fans. I want to talk to y'all. I want to see your comments. Check out my game streams. You can add me on PSN and you can fucking play games with me. I'm Azreal Mal everywhere, except for I still say Twitter, bro. Even after all these years of it being X, I still fucking say Twitter.
It's unofficially still Twitter, but continue.
On the site formerly known as Twitter, I think I'm Azreal Speaks, but everywhere else I'm Azreal Mal. So, yeah, I mean, like, follow, subscribe, YouTube. Definitely keep up with the YouTube page here. But yeah, the message I just wanted to deliver is to be real, because what I'm giving you is realer than what you're going to get from the major labels. It's realer than what you're going to hear on the radio. It's probably realer than a lot of what your friends are making, because they're trying to emulate what they see in the videos, what they hear on the playlist. They're trying to jump on bandwagons. I don't give a fuck about a bandwagon. I'll start my own train. Y'all can get on board with that movement. And that's what this is. It's a movement of music, art, mental health. It's everything that I am. It's a package. And we're going to address all of it. And we're going to, delve into all of it. And that's going to be the core of the art I make, is real, authentic experiences. And that's as real as it gets.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You've tuned in to a interview by Sean G of Rotten Media. This was brought to you by Rock Hopic Records, and you just heard from Azreal Mal himself. Go check this stuff out, man. For real, for real. And if you're going through it out there, this is your sign. This is not just your sign. It's your gift, your free album made just for you. You're not alone. Sean G checking out. Be blessed.
Called out 'cause my head hurt. Stayed in bed till the meds work. Check I probably look like Gary Coleman, 'cause I know damn well that it's coming up short. Plus this job is a dead end nowhere, and I got big dreams and dead friends. Cash still rules like everything, so it's Wu-Tang until the end. Me and Galore no more, let's be new roll up. If it's all three, then it might be a hold up. Glocks on the waist, blade sharp and it's touching your ass with the Swiss cheese and cold cuts. We've had enough. This is the line, 'cause we're pissed enough to go out our minds. Pay us proper, pay no mind to the red dot headshots. Not your goddamn sharecropper.
Bitch, I ain't your motherfucking slave.
Ain't shit free but the style.
Bitch, we got to get paid.
I'm not your goddamn sharecropper.
I ain't your motherfucking slave.
Ain't shit free but the style.
Bitch, we got to get paid. You